Now, I've already published the details of the accounts on the website and answered some fairly detailed questions. So I'm not planning to go through the accounts in any detail. You'll be relieved to know. But what I'd like to do first is just take this opportunity to recap on what imutual is all about. What's the concept? What problem is it trying to solve? So to start with, let's just forget about cashback for a second and talk more generally. Let's take the example of Facebook. Now, I acknowledge that some of you have never been particularly keen Facebook users, but just put yourselves in the shoes of those who are. When it started out, there was great excitement, hundreds of millions of users who found it both useful and fun. And okay, there was some advertising on there, but it funded further improvement in the site. And generally, both the people running Facebook and the people using Facebook were happy. Then Facebook floated on the stock exchange, achieving a value of over $100 billion and making the likes of Mark Zuckerberg and many of his compatriots very rich people indeed. Now, good luck to them. They had a great idea, they worked very hard, they took risks. So I don't begrudge them that. But the value of the company was partly built up by the likes of you, using the site, sharing your data, clicking on adverts. So don't you deserve a share of that 100 billion plus if you've helped to grow the company? But secondly, at the point where they suddenly had all these outside shareholders, because they were on the stock market, there becomes a conflict of interest. They're under pressure to generate profits for those shareholders. And so sometimes it's not easy to combine that with continuing to do the best possible service for your customers. And if you look at any other types of company, banks, energy companies, retailers, whenever they're floated on the stock market, they're always under pressure year on year, or maybe even every 3 or 6 months, to report their results and always increase the amount of money they're making, the amount of profit for the shareholders. And if they don't, they get a very bad reaction. So it creates a tension between outside shareholders and the people who help make their company in the first place, the customers. So the answer to that is the concept of mutuality, where the customers are also the shareholders, and so there is no conflict of interest. And historically, the mutual that you're probably most familiar with will be a building society, maybe like the Nationwide. You might have had savings or mortgages with them yourselves. Now that's a concept that dates back to the 19th century. What we're trying to do with imutual is an entirely new form of mutuality that is based online primarily and takes advantage of the reach that the internet gives us. Now, strictly speaking, we are not a mutual or a cooperative. We're a PLC, and we do that for very practical reasons. And we've also got two significant differences from those traditional mutuals. Firstly, we don't believe it should be one member, one vote. We don't think if somebody's been a member of our site from the outset and done lots of transactions that have helped our company, they deserve a lot more of a stake in the business than someone who just joined yesterday and has yet to do anything. So you get shares in relation to how much you contribute to our company, be that buying through the links on our site or perhaps just helping to recruit people or giving us ideas and feedback on the forum. Secondly, although we hope to continue in our current form for many years to come, we absolutely respect your right to choose to sell your company one day. So at some point, I have no doubt, somebody will want to buy imutual. And at that point, if you agree to that, you get rewarded by being paid for your your shares in the company. And we're quite open about whichever direction the company takes. So that's very different from the traditional kind of mutual. And we operate in the world of online cashback, although we can in the future extend to all sorts of other things. But that's a big enough market to be going on with. In the UK alone, there is over £6 billion spent in online advertising, and that's an estimate for 2013. The average online consumer spends 43 hours a month online. So there are lots of people who are potential imutual members and customers. And we know already over 5 million people in the UK have used a cashback site. So we're still really in our infancy, but there's a huge potential for the company. And so what are the actual values and ideas behind imutual? If we can just bring up the slide, let me go through what I think we stand for. First and foremost, loyalty. So the idea of giving you shares is that if you're going to do anything online, why wouldn't you do it through imutual? Because it's your company, it helps to support your company and grow it and help achieve its potential. We run things in your interests. So that's giving you the maximum amount of cash back, the best possible deals and savings. You know that we are, to the best of our knowledge, giving you genuinely the best offers, not just promoting things that make money for our company. And you can trust us to deal ethically with you and not do things that you wouldn't want us to do with your data, your personal information. And ultimately, you have control of that. You're in charge because you can interact with us on the forums, give us your feedback, and ultimately, if you don't like the way that the directors are running the company, and I hope it never comes to this, but you could vote us off as directors and put someone else in charge. And that creates a very powerful discipline on us, the staff, to do right by you. We're not totally focused on maximising profit. We make the money that we need to run the company and otherwise give as much as we can back to you. I would like to think that we are self-promoting, and by that I mean we don't need to spend on advertising to any great extent, and that we can grow through two means. Firstly, getting people to talk about us, be that the press or other websites. We think it's an idea that's worth their attention. And secondly, and by far the best way for any other site to grow, is through you and your recommendation. Which brings us on to the final point, that we want to be a trusted site. The last thing that you want to do is recommend us to a friend only for them to receive a poor service or for us to do something that's not in their interests. So that's just to sort of set the scene, hopefully to prompt some questions as well. That's the concept of imutual. Well, how are we doing? Well, we've generated nearly 2.5 million transactions already, and we've been going only 3.5 years. Compared with this time last year, when we had about 1,400 members who had actually earned cashback through the site, we've virtually trebled that. So we've had a really good 12 months in terms of the growth of our active membership. We have also pledged to beat the offers by our major competitors in around 80% of cases. Now, we have two significant companies who are many, many times larger than we are at present, and so inevitably they're going to be able to negotiate some good deals on some offers. And all we can do is, as we grow larger, negotiate even better deals for you and try as often as we can to offer you the best cashback rate. And we're already achieving that with 80% of the offers. So we're quite proud of that as an achievement in the last 12 months. We like to think we've proved ourselves reliable, trustworthy, and that our members have a certain affection for us. Now, that's my opinion, but I think if you go on to our forum and see what people have to say about us, you'll find that we can back that up. And lastly, but I suppose most importantly, year on year we're generating an improved financial performance. Now, I said I wouldn't go through the accounts in too much detail, and they're available to view online and on the website, but just briefly, our turnover increased from just over 120,000 last year to 260,000. Now, we did expect it to increase, but that was a much bigger increase than we were expecting. We did benefit from one or two significant one-off deals. So I could actually be sitting here in 12 months' time with the revenue having dropped slightly. That really was an extraordinary performance. But as you'll see from the figure at the bottom, for the first time in our 3.5 years of operation, we actually managed to make a small profit. Now again, we may not be able to repeat that performance next year, but we're certainly heading in the right direction in terms of active membership and growth in activity for the site. So all in all, I'm delighted with the financial performance. I hope you're reassured by that too, and that your company that you've put faith in is going in the right direction.